Yeah, there's some things I do that I think make me relatable.
Yeah, I think I said throughout the whole episode, I think you are very relatable.
Yeah,
and I said your onstage persona is aspirational.
That's your theory, yeah. I think my onstage persona is quite relatable in the truest sense, because I actually do kind of interact with the audience in a really personal way, don't I? I often single people out and I'll share things about my own life, and
do you share things about your life on stage?
Yeah, I often do. Yeah, I often do. Mostly my sex life, I suppose, but in a what I hope is a funny way, I suppose. Thing is, I will interact in the sense that, like, I'm not unapproachable, am I? I mean,
no. I think you've got an interesting persona.
Oh, do expound.
I think it's difficult to know what you really like.
It's hard to get a read on me, is it?
Yeah. It depends what type of person you are and how you read people. Like
I read people?
No, like some people will just read the on-stage persona, and some people are always intrigued to know if that's the real person's personality. Yeah. And then some people are interested in where the line is.
I had a phone call with Ricky Gervais once, years ago, and he said that he just imagined me sitting in my house wearing my cat suit.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. They're like, why are you wearing... I would have never have been like, oh yeah, he wears a cat suit. Oh, I remember one thing you said once in an interview about your sex life.
Oh, yeah.
They asked you something about, I think, your sex life or something.
Right.
And you said, yeah, I like to do role play with my wife and wear cat suits in bed. She loves it.
Yeah, she was well pissed off when I said that as well. It was
it's a funny image.
Yeah,
and people would almost believe, because they're like, well, yeah, that's the sexy cat suit,
Yeah. It's quite difficult to get at the key area, though, I think, in terms of you have to, you know what I mean? Like, to actually get out of one of those things, it's probably not.
And also, yeah.
You can't really do it in a sexy way, really.
Well, you do it on stage where you flip it down like that.
Sometimes I do that, yeah.
It's true. More of a drag-off situation, isn't it? Surely it's almost easier in a way than jeans.
Yeah, there's less buttons and zips and things that can cause discomfort.
Or just awkward pausing.
Yeah. I think sometimes, like, whenever you're in a sensual situation and there's a garment involved, there's a certain amount of, right, well, how do I do this now? It's like
I think it's either slow and steady or aggressively tug.
Why are we talking about this stuff exactly?
Because you said you talk about your sex life on stage, and then I mentioned the interview where you say you wear cat suits.
Yeah, which I got into trouble for, actually. It was the first nail of many in the coffin of our love.
But it's funny.
Yeah, I know, that's what I thought as well. That was my argument.
If I was a wife, I'd be like, that's hilarious.
I know. But the person that was actually my wife did not share your sense of humour.
It would have been almost funny if you said you wear, like, you don't take your clothes off because you're so strict. And
yeah, like that shower in my cat suit. Yeah. I don't want to be out of character at any point, even when I'm bathing. Yeah. So, if I go to the local Lido, I'm wearing like a swimming costume that has an open front like that. And
you have one, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I do have one of those. And the funny thing is, on the back it's got... this is how relatable I am. My swimming costume is a cat suit with short legs, and on the back it has a huge embroidered illustration of me as King Neptune. I wish I was joking. I'm actually not. So,
but that's what people would want from you, in a way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I can't go down to the local Lido without wearing my Neptune catsuit, can I? I mean, they'd think I've lost the plot if I turned up in, like, your generic European bathing thong. They'd think I was a lunatic, wouldn't they?
Though all of your tattoos sort of act as a costume too, don't they?
Well, yeah, I suppose in a way. Yeah, it's part of my vibe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Relatable, see? So I think I've passed the test.
But maybe it is relatable. Maybe it's the type of rock star they would be if they were a rock star.
Well, that's interesting. So what do you think, like, when today, if you pick up the guitar for the first time and you think, right, I'm going to be a rock star. What kind of rock star do you think the youth of today aspires to be?
Sam Fender.
Yeah, that's the working man,
Lewis
basically.
Capaldi.
Right. Oh, these are relatable people, aren't they?
Lewis is so successful because they consider him so relatable, but actually he's almost so not relatable because he's so funny.
Yeah.
If people think they're as funny as Lewis Capaldi, they're wrong.
Yes, I agree, yeah.
So he's relatable. Sam Fender's relatable because he's a proper lad. He's like an Oasis type person,
Yeah.
isn't he?
He
Or
is,
Bruce
but without...
Springsteen.
Yeah, but he's got the... he's the Springsteen...
String bean, you're going to say.
I was going to say string bean because that's how much of a prick I am.
Someone
Even
got offended about you calling him string
Yeah,
bean.
well, that's kind of...
But it's a string bean.
I just like it because when you're referring to him euphemistically, you can call him Spruce String Bean, and then you can tell any story you like. But what you're talking about is the generic sort of blue collar, working man's relatable rock star. I went for a jog along. We were playing in Asbury Lanes, New Jersey, which I think is String Bean County, if I'm not mistaken. I went for a long run. It was 20 kilometres. I was quite pleased with the time that I put in.
Unrelatable.
What, because I ran for a long time?
Because you're so athletic. It's impressive.
Well, I went for a long run. Let's just not talk. Okay, let's talk about... But what I was going to say was I went past what looked like an armour-plated Pope-mobile, pimped up Rolls... it wasn't a Rolls Royce. It was a Range Rover, like something, a really fancy version of a Range Rover. Maybe it was like a Lamborghini 4x4 or something like that. I don't know. And I thought, that's probably Bruce Springsteen's car. But then I thought, why would he go down to like Asbury Lanes and walk along the promenade?
You always wonder what they're not like go for walks, rock stars, are they, in your mind?
Well, I think that going for a walk is relatable, but I think they drive to the place that they're walking from in a really fancy car.
Yeah.
That's unrelatable.
Yeah, I guess so. The car aspect.
Yeah. But then if you've sold a gazillion records, why wouldn't you drive why wouldn't you spend an...
Because maybe you don't want to draw attention, and also your car is more likely to get like vandalised, right?
I must admit I was tempted to do something to it. Yeah. I was a little
But
bit.
relatable should be just the human experience, isn't it? Don't people go, oh, boo-hoo, when like a famous person's a bit sad?
Yeah.
It's like, that's them being relatable. They're sad, but then they're not allowed to
Yeah.
be sad because they got money.
Yeah, because it's the privilege, isn't it? It's the...
Yeah.
If you're in a position of privilege, then you're not allowed to express anything other than gratitude, I suppose.
Yeah, and joy at your privilege.
Yeah.
But that's not what the human experience is it?
The human experience is suffering.
Yeah.
This is what I always say about happiness. It's every day should be a spectrum of emotions. You should experience all of them. And then you sit with the pain, you celebrate the pleasures, and you have all the fun, and you suffer like everybody else, just in different ways. I think that poor individual who had to go to the Savoy because the heating had broken down, within her frame of reference, emotionally, that's a really bad day.
Yeah, she had a bad day. But she probably has bad days where like someone's treating her badly or emotionally doing something to her. Suffering is an emotional thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So whatever knocks you off feeling good will be bad, even if it's not relatable.
I remember a rock star that I know really, really well was on a train. Some people were saying mean stuff. He was being relatable because he was on a train home from London, outside London, right? These people were being pricks, singing his song at him and saying like, laughing, he looks like that bloke from that band that he actually is that bloke from that band,
Mm.
And then to offset the sadness caused by the meanness, he decided to say, well, fuck you guys, I'm going to go for a swim in my pool when I get home. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Watch Coronation Street or whatever, Okay.